Hey there, guys. My name is Brandon, aka Suns Geek, and if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. That is right, guys. I have a special guest on the show today. Somebody who I probably should have got on this channel a lot sooner, but real life comes first. He is busy doing what he does. This guy is one of the biggest Phoenix Suns fans that I have ever met, one of the realest dudes that I have ever met. So I am especially excited to bring on Flex from Jersey. What is going on, man? Tell them where we can find you. Tell us how you're doing. What's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Suns Geek, man. I'm a big fan, my brother. Hey, first of all, thanks for having me on, bro. I watch all your stuff. I'm a big fan, bro. I'm humbled to be on, brother. Always got time for you, man. I'm glad we got this done. We've been talking for a minute, so I'm glad we finally got it done, man. But yeah, man. Listen, I'm burning the candle on both ends right now, bro. I'm doing two shows a week on KSRN Arizona with my guy Earl Burnett, talking Suns and everything Arizona sports. Obviously, I got the Coast to Coast podcast with my guy Dan Duarte. You can check that out on all major platforms, and we're about to upgrade the platform, so we're going to get more stuff coming out with Coast to Coast. I also got the Believe the Network right behind me, Believe the Suns podcast on the Believe Network. We're doing that through KSRN. We're doing Zoom media with the Phoenix Suns coaches and players, and as always, man, the 98.7 Arizona Sports post game show with my guy John Bloom. You can catch me after every home game on that show. So yeah, man, we got a lot to unpack there, man. But I hope y'all on it, man, and just trying to provide good content, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure I linked your Twitter down below in the description, and I think I linked one of the YouTube channels that you were on down below in the description. So go follow Flex from Jersey. Make sure to subscribe, follow him, show him some love, because this is one of the biggest Phoenix Suns fans that we have. He is doing things all over the networks, and we need it, man. We need a voice like you all over the networks, because I can't do it all myself. I don't want to be the only Phoenix Suns voice that there is. You know how that is, man.
No doubt, brother.
But shout out to you, man. I mean, you've been doing your thing for a long time, and I absolutely love it. So really, man, this conversation is really simple. I'm going to kind of flip-flop some questions here, but let's just address the elephant in the room here. What do the Phoenix Suns need to do to defeat the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round of the NBA playoffs?
Man,
I know that's not an easy question. I know.
No, it's not, because there's no easy answer for that, right? I mean, this is a tough series, and I want to start framing this by saying, if you're a Phoenix Suns fan and you're not excited about this, you might have to recheck some things, man, because you can't. This is going to be a tremendous litmus test for this basketball team. I'm excited about it. I'm not scared of the Lakers. I don't think anyone Lakers. The Suns have proven over 72 games that they're a top 10 offense and defense. And so we got to believe in this basketball team, man, but it's not going to be easy. That's King James over there. So to answer your question, bro, what we have to do to win, I'd first say my biggest worry is we know what LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to do. But you got to be very cautious about how much you let the Carusos and the Kyle Kuzmas and the Kentavious Caldwell Pope, and we got to control. Guys. Yeah, we got to control those guys. We got to make sure that there's never a game where those guys are touching anywhere by 20, 25 points, because that's a recipe for disaster. We really got to hold everybody else at bay. And then I think the biggest thing that my worry is we just got to control the offensive glass. We can't let them get second and third opportunities on offense.
Thank you.
If we can play defense and secure the rebounds, we're going to have a shot in this series. So, yeah, I think we got a chance, brother. Talk to me, man.
That's the thing, man. I 110% agree with you. Here's the scary thing. We saw what Anthony Davis can do by himself in that last game, but I totally agree with you, man. I mean, I've kind of always been, maybe this is bad basketball analysis, but it's like, let the stars do their thing. Stop everybody else. The Lakers obviously do a lot of things very well. One thing that I took away from that Warriors game last night, which, by the way, that was one of the best basketball games I've ever watched in my life. It's crazy, but it really was they're scary on the fast break. Like when LeBron is going at you on the fast break, that's like Michael Jordan coming at you, or Magic Johnson, or et cetera, et cetera. But man, now obviously their size is a problem, but I really feel like the Suns, if they can just hit their shots, and I 100% agree with you on the rebounding too. I have been the biggest critic of this Phoenix Suns team when it comes to their rebounding. Also, the interior defense is going to need to be big. That is something that we struggle with. I think we're one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to interior defense. There were times last night in that Lakers game where Anthony Davis looked like he jumped out of the building because the Warriors couldn't guard him in the interior. Right. So if we can somehow just stop their other guys, because obviously the Lakers are a great defensive team. And even though I'm a critic about it sometimes, so are we. Sometimes it doesn't seem like we are a top 5, top 10 defense or whatever, but play to our strengths, man. I mean, you kind of talked about it. You know, we got to rebound. We got to hit our shots. I also say get to the free throw line. I mean, it's going to be hard to get LeBron James into any foul trouble, but my next question, and again, you can go ahead and give me the rest of your thoughts on what I just asked you, but do you think the Suns will struggle in game 1 because they're nervous? Now, I don't say lose. Do you think they will struggle in game 1 because they're nervous?
Honestly, man, I'm going to be honest, brother. I think the Suns are going to be incredible in game 1. I really do. I think they're going to come out. I really do. I think they're going to come out like gangbusters. I think they've been waiting for this. I think the worst hidden secret in basketball has been that these two teams are going to play for like the last month. Everyone's known it. Everyone's known it. The Suns have known it. The Lakers have known it. They've been on a collision course. You can make an argument who wanted it more. You know, I spoke to some people out with LA connections and connected to that Laker team that told me emphatically that the Lakers have been wanting the Suns for the last 3 weeks. They've been throwing games and losing games because they actually want the Phoenix Suns. So that's when you hear that, then you got to realize that they just came off a really tough game with Golden State. And, it's an incredible high, that basketball game they were in just now. And it's a roller coaster. And so it's going to be really hard to get everything back together and come back on Sunday, early tip off, 12:30 noon in Phoenix. So I think they're going to come in a little flat. I think the Suns are licking their chops. I think they're excited. I think they're disappointed that they're getting disrespected by the media. Mm-hmm. You know, Vegas starts up and they're a negative, a plus 240 versus the Lakers. The first
ESPN is trashing us left and right.
Correct.
I don't personally pay attention to all that, but you know how it is.
Oh no, and you know what? To an extent, they all pay attention to this stuff to an extent. You know what I mean? And when you hear that you're the 2 seed in the NBA, 51 wins, second best record in the NBA, second best record in the conference, division champions, top 10 in offensive defense, and you're coming in as the first 2 seed in 30 years to be an underdog versus a 7. I mean, that's got to be a little bit disrespectful, and the team internally has to be kind of like, okay, let's us against the world type mentality here. So I do think, to answer your question, my brother, I think we are going to come out and play extremely well in game 1. I don't think there'll be as much jitters as people think.
Right.
And I think game 1 is going to be the game that Phoenix has to come out and do this and set the tone for the series. Because I think after game 1, and I don't want to be long-winded here, my brother, but my experience with basketball, the easiest game is game 1, because that's the game that you haven't played anybody yet. Your coaches can't dissect everything. You can't make adjustments. You might catch a team that's a little flat on energy. And so the first one's the easiest one. So get that one out the way.
Exactly.
Because game 2 through 7 is going to be a chess match. And that's where the series is going to be decided, not game 1.
For some reason, I've always been a big believer in game 3 is super important, because I absolutely agree with you. In game 1, I don't even care if you've been playing this opponent for all season. You're like, oh, we're going to match up with them in the playoffs. I don't care. Like game 1, whatever happens, happens. I do agree with you, though. The Suns do need to win game 1, because if they lose, obviously, how Suns Twitter is. There's going to be panic. The media is going to blow us off and say that we're going to get swept. But I don't know why. I've just always been a big believer in winning game 3, especially since it's at their home. And I'm just super excited for the playoffs, man. Once again, we are joined live with Flex from Jersey. Thank you so much for being on the show, man. Continuing on with this Phoenix Suns playoff talk, which, in 10 short minutes, I feel like we've summed up a lot of it, but at the same time, there's still so much to talk about. Now, I'm going to use a certain word here. Who is the Suns' biggest X factors? Because I honestly feel like in the playoffs, man, that's where legends are born. That's where some of the best moments of your franchise are born. So who is your opinion the Suns' biggest X factors? Because you know this, the Suns have a lot and it could change game to game, but who do you think is the biggest X factor in your opinion?
I think it's campaign. I think campaign is the biggest X factor for us in this series. Listen, I know what we're going to get from Chris Paul. You know what you're going to get from Devin Booker.
Right.
You kind of know what you're going to get from Jay Crowder. These guys are vets. Book is his first playoff, but I'm telling y'all right now, don't y'all worry about Planet Orange. Understand me. Do not worry about Devin Booker, man. Devin Booker's going to do Devin Booker things, okay? CP and Jay are going to be fine. So now you start thinking about, in a long series, what's going to happen when Chris Paul comes out. And I think that those type of matchups, those type of things are going to be what decides the series. So, if campaign could come in and do campaign things and average the 10, 15 he's been averaging coming off the bench and hitting those big threes and putting the Lakers on their heels, then it's going to give the Lakers this feeling of, hey, when Chris comes out the game, we just can't take plays off. Typically, when a guy like Chris comes off the court, the other teams tend to think, okay, Chris is off the court. We take a little break now. But I think campaign putting pressure on them, especially because, realize this, brother, last night, Vogel shortened his rotation. I mean, there's basically an 8-man rotation.
Yeah.
Horton Tucker and Montrez played a combined 13 minutes. So you take them out. It basically was an 8-man rotation. And so that's a lot of stuff for guys like Dennis Schroeder and
Caruso.
Caruso. And so I think campaign. And then if there's a one, that's my 1A, 1B would be Torrey Craig. I think Torrey Craig defense on LeBron and being able to give other people like Mikal and Jay a break is going to be
grabbing rebounds like he's Bill Russell, and I'm not even kidding.
The guy's one of the best rebounders for his size, man. He's incredible.
Right. No, I absolutely agree with you, man. And I kind of mentioned this earlier too. I mean, I feel like campaign is really good at just driving and being aggressive, trying to get to the free throw line, which is kind of an area which we struggle in. I've said this so many times before. That guy plays like his job is on the line, which in my opinion, it really isn't. But that's a good thing. A bad metaphor for Cameron Payne. That guy is just absolutely incredible. And then this, Torrey Craig came out of nowhere. That guy, I hope we resign him next season. He deserves to come back. And I think people forget, man, that guy's been to the Western Conference Finals. We're going to need that, man. I mean, I get it. He's not like an experienced veteran like Chris Paul status, but he's been there, man. And he's played with some of the great players in this game. He's been around. Torrey Craig has been great. Continuing on. So this question's a little weird. And again, we can take some questions from the chat. Shout out to my boy Romp 2.0, fellow content creator, makes tons of great NBA videos. Thank you so much for everybody who's in the chat right now. I appreciate you guys. We're just talking Phoenix Suns playoffs with Flex from Jersey, and I appreciate you guys. Coda Kid's been a longtime subscriber of mine. He says Cam Payne and Cam Johnson. Before I ask this next question, I hope Cam Johnson is ready to go. I think he had like that wrist injury. He had the cast on. He'll be somebody that needs to be a big time X factor. In my opinion, he's just got to hit his shots. But the good thing is, and this, we have guys, if Cam Johnson is struggling, that can like Etwan Moore, for example, or Langston Galloway, if they're consistent with hitting their threes, it won't matter if Cam Johnson's having a bad game, but maybe Cam Johnson could step it up defensively because I feel like that guy's kind of a underrated defender, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
So this question is kind of for me.
All right.
You've been a very optimistic, positive Suns fan all season, but you've also kind of been a realist at times. And you said something that I've quoted from you, and I love it. You say this team needs to stop playing down to their competition. And that's where I feel like you've been very real. And I know that you've had some great conversations on all the work you do. What would you say to a negative Phoenix Suns fan? Because I've seen a lot of it, especially on social media. There's some Suns fans that just are counting us out already. What would you say to those negative Suns fans headed into this playoff series? I hope that question makes any kind of sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And you know what? I normally don't do this, but I'm going to actually tell people, if you're listening to this show, go to ksrnaz.com. Okay. And there's an article. There you go. There's an article that I write. There's a, you know, I'm doing some work over there. I write a weekly article called The Flex Bomb. And in that Flex Bomb, I wrote about this specific question. And the title of the article is Believe in These Suns. You know, just believe in these Phoenix Suns, man. Like, you know, I say something with John Bloom when I do the post-game show with him. It's one of my things that I constantly say. You know, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it swims like a duck, don't call it a dog. It's a duck, right? But let's believe what your eyes are showing you. And to a negative Suns fan, I'll say, I understand. And to frame this in a different way, Brandon, you know, there's negative Suns fans from my generation that saw the hip check on Steve Nash, right? And saw Joe Johnson falling and breaking his face before the Spurs series. And saw Amari Stoudemire get suspended for taking a step off the bench, right? We saw those things, the John Paxson three-pointer. And so that generation of Phoenix Suns fans, they're negative for different reasons. The newer generation is negative because they've really never seen anything good. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Brandon? You know, you become a product of your environment. So if the environment you're in is a losing environment, I can understand why you could look at this and say, oh boy, here we go. This is the Phoenix Suns. We get the Lakers. Oh my God. Shame on us, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I say to them, to negative Suns fans, I say, guys, listen, first and foremost, Brandon, we're ahead of the curve. Okay. If I'd have told you last year, coming out of the bubble, that the Suns would be the 7th seed in the Western Conference going against the number 2 seed Lakers, would you have taken that?
Nope, I would have made a whole video about it saying you're crazy. calling you out.
You know, so here's my thing. Here's my thing, Brandon. So, you know, this team was supposed to be a 7 and 8 seed, right? This is how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to sneak into the playoffs, and you're supposed to get it handed to you in the first round. And then the following year, you're supposed to contend for your division maybe, and maybe try to get a top 4. And then the following year, you eventually go down that road where you start talking conference championship and maybe title contenders. Well, guess what? The negative fans, man, we skipped about 3 steps. Like, so
exactly.
I tell people, man, I'm saying enjoy, you find beauty in the struggle, enjoy the process. Don't take this team for granted. Know the future's bright. This core is 25 and under. Besides CP, everyone's 25 and under. They're going to be around for a long time. And so, yeah, man, I hate to be the guy that's like totally positive and everything's happy-go-lucky, because I know it's going to be a tough series and there is a reality we can get knocked out in the first round. But to those people that are worried about that, I say, if you lose to LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the Los Angeles Lakers, the positive lesson that you learn from that, the scars that you get from that, the education that you get from that is much better than taking a back door and beating a couple teams that aren't as good as the Lakers just to say you made the conference finals, because you know who you are, Brandon? Then you're the Denver Nuggets. I mean, no, I'm just keeping it real. Like, listen, the Nuggets were in the conference finals last year. They're a dead even in Vegas to lose to Portland in round 1. So I'm not dissing Denver Nuggets fans. I'm just saying, you know, you're better suited going through the struggle, man. You don't become a great team unless you go through this. So let's go through this, Planet Orange. Let's go through this, for good or for bad. Let's go through this.
Absolutely, that was an incredible speech right there. That took every single word out of my mouth, man. That was great. Once again, we are live with Flex from Jersey. I totally agree with you, man. I mean, this is going to be great either way, especially if we can get them in 6 or 7 games. And even if we lose in 6 or 7 games, I think that's a massive W, because I had them like, I was stupid. I had them like 4th, And I'm horrible at predictions. I didn't even know what we were going to do in the playoffs, but I had them like fourth, and I have it on record them winning like 45 games, which wasn't too off.
Oh, you right there, brother. You right there.
Exactly. But I saw tons of other people that had them lower than 45 games. I only saw a couple of people up there with more, but I guess the point being is that I didn't really know what to expect. But you were absolutely right, man. And if this Phoenix Suns team is as good as we want them to be, then they need to beat but they should beat the Los Angeles Lakers and then go through everyone else. I totally agree with you. That was absolutely incredible. Shout out here. We got a super chat. Raider, I'm probably going to butcher this name. Mayako. I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm so sorry. $2 super chat, and I really appreciate that. Shout out from Cuba. Let's go Suns. We got this. The Phoenix Suns fan base is worldwide. It is global. And I appreciate each and every single one of you guys watching. I mean, you guys are wasting your time listening to me talk about the Phoenix Suns when really you're here for Flex from Jersey, because this guy knows his stuff. One of the biggest Phoenix Suns fans that I've ever met. But let's keep going here. I see some good questions in the chat, and we will get that soon.
Shout out to my man in Cuba, man. That's big, man. I'm from the island. I'm from Puerto Rico, man. So I respect my island guys, man. So shout out. That's big, man. All the way from Cuba, man. Love the love, man. Keep supporting my man Brandon.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's the thing, man. I've been pretty fortunate, and I've had people from like Germany and all kinds of places telling me that they watch the show. It's absolutely incredible. I do want to take one question here from Roy. Roy's a longtime supporter of mine. He's even been on the channel one time. Nice. We all know Monty Williams is the coach of the year, but do you think Monty Williams will win coach of the year? Because now look, obviously I'm a huge Phoenix Suns fan, but at the end of the day, man, I love basketball. Obviously Tom Thibodeau deserves a lot of credit. You know, Quinn Snyder, you know, Michael Malone. Now I would say Nate McMillan, but he kind of joined a little bit later in the season. It's Monty Williams, but is Monty Williams the coach of the year?
Yeah, no. Listen, so here's the thing. I'm from New Jersey, right? So I'm right in the backyard of the Knicks, and I got to be honest with you, man. If I'm gonna put in order of what I think it should be, I think what Nate McMillan did, taking over that Atlanta team that was like 4 games under 500, and then just putting them in a run. And almost getting home court in the first round. Incredible job. So he would be third on my ballot. And then what Tom Thibodeau was able to do in New York, you know, Worldwide West, William Wesley and Leon Rose coming to New York. This is basically the same team they had last year. And they were absolutely atrocious. I watched them from right down the road. I'm a big Knicks supporter. I love the Suns, but, you know, being here, I like the NBA when the Knicks are doing well. So to
the
see
NBA is better when the Knicks are doing well.
Absolutely, man. You couldn't have said that better, man. The NBA is better when the Suns and the Knicks are doing well, right? So you know, Tom Thibodeau, incredible job. Julius had a great year. He went and made the trade and brought in Derrick Rose, and so he's my number 2. I think Tom Thibodeau's right there. But yeah, I mean, listen, what Monty Williams has been able to do in the last 2 years to come in
short amount of time.
Take that team last year, go into the bubble, go 8-0. And then come back this year, a brand new point guard, a little bit of a new system, implementing some more guys like Jay Crowder. You just don't miss a beat. He's the first coach, and I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but I believe it's been in a long time. First coach to have multiple plus 15 win improvements in back-to-back years.
Yeah, I think I saw that stat too. Right? I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? So you win plus 15 last year and plus 15 this year. I mean, plus 15 usually wins you coach of the year. You do that 2 years in a row. I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't coach of the year last year. So, yes, to answer the question to my guy, I don't know who asked the question, but yeah, I think it's Monty Williams.
My man, Roy.
Yeah, Roy, appreciate the question, man. I think that's in a landslide, Monty Williams, man.
Absolutely. One thing I love too, man, and you already know this, is Monty is just so humble about it. You know, I remember when he first got here at his press conference, afterward, he was just out in the arena, just, you know, where you go and buy tickets and you go buy your stuff. He was just talking to people, and he was just shaking hands, and it was great. And he's so humble, and he really is a great players coach. And I'm glad that Sean left this comment. He says, rally the valley and let's do this for Westy, the late great Paul Westphal, NBA legend, and for Cotton. Cotton, is a Phoenix Suns icon who just got accepted into the NBA Hall of Fame. And I was listening to the legend Al McCoy, and Al McCoy said this about Monty Williams. So I'm so glad that Sean brought this up. Thank you so much, Sean. Al McCoy said something along the lines of Cotton was one of the best coaches to handle players. And he says that Monty Williams is in that category.
Wow.
And I absolutely agree. It's an incredible thing. It's like, that gave me chills like when he said it. And I'm reading a quote here from Monty. It's kind of all over the place, but he says like he was very humble about the Coach of the Year honor. Now, obviously, that wasn't the official award. That was just the coaches saying, hey, Monty should be, the Coach of the Year. But he says it really reflects a number of efforts and sacrifices by so many people. The players being number one, our staff that grind every single day, the people who work in this building and downtown. It's like he's literally just saying, everyone else deserves the Coach of the Year. The team deserves the Coach of the Year. It's kind of like when Devin Booker, what he won like Player of the Month and he brought everyone out or whatever. Like that's how it is, man. I absolutely love Monty Williams. And this is going to be a testament too for Monty Williams as well during the NBA playoffs. We're going to see how his rotations look and we'll see what happens, man. But Monty Williams is the Coach of the Year. Shout out once again to the late, great Paul Westphal and to Cotton Fitzsimmons. By the way, Phoenix Suns fans, if you don't know who Cotton Fitzsimmons is, open a book, do your homework, Google him, find out who he is. He's a Suns icon.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Hey, you know what, man? I love to jump in on that, man. If you don't mind for a minute too, man, because I've been a Phoenix Suns fan, plus 30 years. Okay. Right. When I became a Suns fan, our head coach was Cotton Fitzsimmons, and this is 1988. And I'm just a kid who loves basketball, who lives in New Jersey, who's got no business being a Phoenix Suns fan. There's just no business. And I fell in love with the game, and I loved how Cotton coached the game. I loved how enthusiastic he was on the sidelines. This guy's an absolute legend. I mean, this guy not only was the coach of the basketball team, but he went into the front office and did incredible things.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
He was a broadcaster, too.
He was a broadcaster, too. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite lines from Cotton Fitzsimmons was after June 17th, 1992. That's the day we acquired Charles Barkley.
Yep.
And I remember at a press conference, he picked up Charles Barkley at the airport. I'm not sure if you know this story, but he picked up Charles Barkley at the airport and drove him down to what used to be, it was our stadium now, but it used to be America West Arena, and it was brand new. And Charles Barkley had a history of just being a guy that was a little hot-headed and stuff like that. And I remember he made this comment. He said, I took Chuck right to the arena, and I showed him 19,022 seats that we were about to fill in. And he goes, Chuck, do you like this? And Charles said, man, this is amazing. He goes, you know what? Every seat was sold before you got here.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's the confidence. Yeah. He told Chuck right in the moment, you don't come here and think you the boss.
Right.
Don't come here and think you the captain of the ship. Every seat was sold before you got here. You see what we're missing? We're missing a championship banner. That's what your job is. And that's an iconic Cotton Fitzsimmons way of doing things. So that was great. And then just shout out to Paul Westphal, because people don't know that Cotton Fitzsimmons was replaced by Paul Westphal. He was his assistant. And the last time we went to NBA Finals, Paul Westphal was our coach. And that iconic moment in the playoffs when he said, we're
going to come back and win game 4 or 5.
There you go. I mean, that lives in my mind forever. So shout out, rest in peace to those guys. I'm sorry to be long-winded, but those guys mean a lot to me, man.
No, I love it, man. I love your stories. I love your speeches that you've been. This is why I brought you on, man, because you're one of the biggest Phoenix Suns fans I know. You are a pro at this. Once again, you guys, after this is all done, I will make sure to link all of his stuff down below. You can see it in the background, the BelievePodcast.com. Check it out. Flex is also on Twitter. Link down below in the description. And after the show, I'll make sure to link that. We are about 30 minutes in. I'm going to ask you some spontaneous questions, and then we'll probably close it out unless we get like a really good question from the chat.
Let's go.
I can't believe that we've went 30 minutes without talking about Deandre Ayton. Now, I'm sure you saw my quote controversial video that I made about him with the guys over at the Valley podcast. They do great work over there. They're a new upcoming podcast. They're my friends over there. But I made that video, man, because he was playing really bad when that was going on.
Right.
And I kind of just needed to come to peace with Deandre Ayton after that. I'm his biggest believer, but I'm also his biggest critic. I hope he doesn't hate me for making that video. You got to hold your stars accountable, especially when you're winning. If this was like 2 years ago when he got drafted, or even last year, and we didn't have Chris Paul and stuff, maybe I wouldn't be so hard on him. Maybe if we were like a lottery team again, this progress would be great. But I had to make that video. So I guess what I'm asking you is, what are you expecting about what are you expecting out of Deandre Ayton, and just any thoughts on him headed into the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, no, listen, first things first, man. Like I said, I love your work. So
thank you.
I mean, you're a straight shooter. You're calling it how you see it, right? And so here's what I think DA is gonna be fine. I'm a big, we've interacted. You follow me on I love Deandre Ayton. I absolutely do. And so here's what I'm gonna say about Deandre Ayton. There's already a narrative that's out there that is basically already kind of saying, hey, if we lose, it's DeAndre's fault. I'm already hearing that. Right. It's like, oh, well, Deandre, if we win, it's going to be because DeAndre did this and actually played to his potential. But if we lose, it's all his fault. And to that, I say, listen, the kid is 22. The kid is unbelievably talented. He is nowhere near his potential. And this year he showed a lot of progression between the years. That is the biggest improvement I saw from Deandre Ayton this year.
Absolutely.
It wasn't anything physically. It wasn't something in the box score.
Right.
It's watching the tape, dissecting the tape, and watching what he did between the ears. How he learned how to be a better passer out of the post. How he learned how to better diagnose the double team and when it's coming. How he became a better willing passer. Just certain things like that at 22 is really impressive to me. So I expect him to play. I expect him to have his issues just like any 22-year-old would have in their first playoff.
Exactly. In his first playoff. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I expect him to have some issues, but I also expect him to be the fourth best rebounder in the NBA, a monster on the defensive glass, a monster on the offensive glass, a guy that's going to set every pick for Devin Booker and Chris Paul and get them open, a guy that's going to have gravity towards the rim, that's going to allow Torrey Craig and Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to get free shots. So that's what I expect. Don't get lost in the box score. Don't look at 9 and 11 and say, oh, DA only had 9 and 11. Watch the entire game. Yeah, watch the entire game and look at what he does that doesn't pop up in the box score. But I guess, again, to answer your question, I think DA is going to be fine, man. I'm excited to see this next step in his progression.
Absolutely, man. And that's the thing. It's like, maybe I should have waited to make that Deandre Ayton video to see where he is in a couple of years. But again, it's because we're winning. I had to make it. And it's funny because after that, he started playing really good. And it was revealed that he had his first kid. So congratulations to him. And I was like, maybe that's why he was struggling. And, in all fairness, he did kind of dip down a little kind of towards the end of the season. But you're right, man. I mean, if he can just do his job out there, play great defense, get those boards, be aggressive, as Super Mario Hoops 24, another NBA content creator, says, DeAndre Ayton offensively should be very aggressive this series if they put Drummond on him to open games. And really, I've always said this about DeAndre Ayton, man, be the biggest player most of the time out on the court. I mean, obviously Anthony Davis is huge and Marc Gasol and et cetera, but most of the time it's usually DeAndre Ayton is the biggest player out on the court. And I kind of mentioned this earlier. I said it in a video actually yesterday. I was like, the Suns having this week off, I think, is going to be huge because COVID or no COVID, it's like these guys need rest. They need time to hit, especially this season. They barely had any practice. I don't know how much film session they've had. This week off is going to be huge. And yeah, you could throw it back and say, oh, well, the Lakers are going to be motivated and blah, blah. I don't care. The Suns have a week off. That is huge. And that was kind of why I asked you that question earlier about, like, will the Suns struggle? I was mainly just saying because they might be nervous, but I'm like, I think I agree with you, kind of what you said. Like, I think they're going to be coming out strong and focused. And I think this week off is really going to help them. Continuing on here, everything horror. I've seen this guy on my live streams. I appreciate you, man. $5 super chat. You totally didn't have to do that. I appreciate you guys. He says, we need to give our team the home court advantage. We got to show up, Suns fans. Yes. And thank you to everybody on Twitter that has been saying, don't sell your ticket. Don't flip your tickets to Lakers fans. You know, I understand we're all struggling and stuff. We got to make money. I get it, but don't do that, Phoenix Suns fans. We are in the NBA playoffs. I have a playoff shirt up there for the first time in like 10 years. It's like, go to the Phoenix Suns games. Wear your merchandise. You know, I was talking to you earlier. I was like, I moved to Tennessee, you know, last year, but I was like, when I lived in Phoenix, man, I was a walking advertisement for the Suns. I get weird looks all the time because I'm wearing all this Suns gear up here in Tennessee, man. And I know it's probably the same way with you, man, where you live. So Suns fans, go support your Phoenix Suns. You got anything to say on my little rant there?
No. You're with it, bro. I just put a tweet out the other day. And I was talking behind the scenes to some of my contacts within the team and in the building, stuff like that. And you know, it's upsetting, man. It's upsetting to see that there's a market where these Suns fans, season ticket holders, they're getting these playoff tickets, man. They're selling them to the highest bidder. And you know, you're going to get Laker fans in the building that shouldn't be there. And these are the same fans, Brandon, that are quick to criticize Robert Sarver for being cheap. This is what they say. They say, oh, Robert Sarver's cheap, you know, this, that, and the third. And, you know, this is why we don't win, because he sells draft picks and cash considerations and blah, blah, blah. But you're going and you're trading away your playoff ticket to make money instead of sitting there and supporting the team that Robert Sarver is putting on the court for you this year.
Exactly. So, and even last year.
I'm not a Robert Sarver apologist. I'm not. But I will say that I think, I will say, though, that I think he's gotten a bad rap in a lot of ways. There's some things he deserves to get criticized for, and there's some things he doesn't. And like right now, man, I mean, he was on the Burns and Gamble show the other day. He made it very clear he's willing to pay. Ownership is ready to pay to keep this team together, exceed the salary cap, exceed the luxury tax. And so let's have some pride, Planet Orange, man. We supposed to go out there and rep the Phoenix Suns, man. We don't want to see a purple and purple and gold out there. It's just not the time or the place. You want to do that in the regular season, go ahead, man, but not in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm sorry. That's kind of a rant for me too, man. It's like a double rant, right?
No, I love it, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I've took a couple small shots here and there on Robert Sarver, but I'm not like a Robert Sarver hater or anything. And you're absolutely right. There were decisions he made that definitely deserve the criticism. I'm sure he would agree to that as well, but that doesn't matter now. Like, we had a great season last year. We obviously all saw what happened in the bubble, and then look at this season. We're getting there. And if we're going to enter this new decade on winning terms with Chris Paul and our young core, I'm absolutely all for it. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but there was one more question I had for you. And I feel like, honestly, we could have a whole different live stream podcast on this one conversation, but do you have any thoughts for the NBA playoffs? I'm terrible at making predictions. And follow-up question to that, who do you like coming out of the East? Because again, man, I know you know your basketball. For me personally, I'm a big Sixers fan because my boy Romp 2.0, I've kind of been in the loop with that team. I've watched highlights, I've watched games. Obviously, Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate. The Sixers are really damn good. You know, the Bucks, the Nets. Do you have any playoff predictions? Who do you like in the East? What are your thoughts, man?
So we'll start in the East, man. Like, I'm out here on the East Coast, man. So I pay a lot of attention to East Coast basketball. Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets are the talk of the town, right? Everybody's talking Brooklyn Nets. But the one thing I will say from somebody that's down the road, and I'm paying a lot of attention to that basketball team, they've only played like 9 games together this year.
Exactly.
There's some chemistry issues. There's some
defense.
There's some defensive issues. There's some injury concerns, some chemistry stuff. So I will say this, everything being equal, if that team is healthy and they get it together, there's no team better in the East. Let's make that very clear. But are there teams that are better put together for the playoffs in regards to chemistry and how they're going to come together and coach. And yes, the Sixers are pretty damn good.
Right.
Joel Embiid, for my money, could be the MVP of the league. The guy's like 30 points, 11 boards, and like 6 assists a game, or not 4 assists a game. So he's going to be a tough out. So without being long-winded, I think the 3 teams in the East that I like the most are obviously Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. I still think Brooklyn comes out, but I think they're going to have a dogfight with the Sixers. I think that's going to be a heck of a series. I could see that going 7 games. I could see Philly getting walked off in a similar fashion that they did against Toronto with the Kawhi walk-off. That would be heartbreaking. But I think that's the way it's going to go. I think Milwaukee is going to have another issue in this playoffs. They may get bounced in this first round against Miami. Who knows? But I like Brooklyn coming out these. Now, in the West, man, listen, you want me to – I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to make this very clear. Remember I said this Planet Orange, and don't take this as the homer take, okay? Whoever wins this series is going to the NBA Finals.
Let's go.
That's what I'm saying. If the Phoenix Suns get through the Lakers – hey, I'm going to be the happiest guy on planet Earth because I'll be in the arena for the Phoenix Suns NBA Finals. And all I got to do is drive 10 minutes down the road to Brooklyn. So I'll be at every game. I'm going to be at the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns home arenas. If Phoenix can get through the Lakers, they're going to the NBA Finals. But I will say the same thing for the Lakers. If the Lakers actually beat Phoenix, they're going to get better every round, and they will be in the NBA Finals. So at some point, the Phoenix Suns will look. And if you're a Suns fan, you're going to say, hey, we lost in the first round, but we lost to the eventual NBA Finals, contender or something like that. So let's go. Hey, shout out to my man Davon, man. My man Davon in the chat.
I saw that.
My bro, man. Yes, sir. Let's go. Phoenix Suns. Whoever wins this series is going to the finals. And I'm going Suns in 7, man. I'm going Suns in 7. I want to say 6, but I believe that if I'm being honest, I think the Suns are going to have a good chance to win the first 2 in Phoenix.
Game 3 is important, man.
Game 3 is very important. 3. I think the Lakers might hold serve in LA. And I think that game 5, like 83% of the time, whoever wins that game 5 when it's 2-2 ends up winning the series. And so, yeah, I'm going to say Suns in 7, but there's something that tells me it could be done in 6. So let's go. It's time for Planet Orange to embrace the challenge. Find beauty in the struggle. Let's stop ducking. You don't become an NBA champion by taking back doors, Brandon. You become an NBA champion by taking a challenge head on and getting the best we can out of it. So let's go Planet Orange, man. Absolutely, man. Shout out to Davon who's in here. We appreciate you, man. We all know who you are. Kind of a Suns legend. And you're a real Suns fan if you know who Davon is, and we appreciate you taking the time to watch, man. Really, that's it, man. I don't really know what else there is to say. I mean, the Sixers are going to be a really good team. The Nets are going to be hard to beat. Every single game that the Suns are going to play in this playoffs, it's going to be insane. I can't wait to cover it all. I can't wait to eventually get you back on the channel, man. You are welcome on here anytime. You ever want to rant about something, hit me up, man. I know that you're all over these different networks, but if you're like, yo, I got to just let it out. Come on, Suns Geek, man, and we'll get you on, man. Because you know me, I like to do that too, and that's really it. So once again, let the people know where they can find you. After this is done, I'll link it all in the description. And you got any final thoughts? As far as where they can find me, I'll just try to recap it real quick. KSRN AZ, Casual Sports Radio Network. I do 2 shows a week with my guy Earl Burnett. We got Phoenix Suns media credentials, so we go in the locker room on the Zoom calls. I write a weekly column called The Flex Bomb on KSRN Arizona. You can check that out. You can check me out on the Coast to Coast podcast with my brother Dan Duarte. Catch me on the Believe the Suns podcast with my guy Earl Burnett. And catch me on 98.7 Arizona Sports. Phoenix Suns post-game show with my brother John Bloom after every home game and hopefully after every playoff game. John Bloom's great, man. He's great. It's my brother. I just had him on the show the other day. Follow me on Twitter, CruzFE13. And that's about it, man. Yeah, same here, man. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I noticed that as we kept going that more people joined, and usually afterwards these post-game, these chats, they get a lot of views. And I appreciate each and every single one of you. We are on the road to 5
1,000 subscribers, which is crazy to think about,
yes,
you guys.
sir.
I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
you guys know me. I love Phoenix Suns basketball. I love NBA basketball, and I love creating. I love making these videos for you guys. And for the people that donated your hard-earned money to this chat, I appreciate it. It does not go unseen. And I always tell people, I'm like, I try to use that money to make this better. And once again, we will get you back on the show as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Brandon, aka Suns Geek, and if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. Make sure to Hulk smash the like button and please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Go Suns, go.
Peace out.